Blog Talk Radio.
And welcome once again to Business Credit Radio on blogtalkradio.com. We are the voice for credit and finance professionals worldwide. One of our biggest sponsors is CMA. This evening's show is partially brought to you by the Credit Management Association, a proud affiliate of the National Association of Credit Management that has helped business-to-business companies with their credit, collections, and financial decisions since 1883. Contact CMA at www.creditmanagementassociation.org for more details on how CMA can benefit you. Well, welcome to everybody, including our peers from overseas and all of our finance and credit management professionals nationwide. I am your host, Phil Philbin, and this is, once again, Business Credit Radio. Our co-host today is Mr. Eddie Sumar from beautiful Southern California. Say hello, Eddie.
Good morning, Phil. How are you? I'm very excited. We're going to have a wonderful show today. What an amazing guest that we're going to have. So I'll leave that to you to introduce them.
Thank you very much. I will do so. First, I want to talk to our callers. If you are a caller calling in and you want to speak to one of our guests, please be patient. The phone number to do that is 347-989-8342. If you have a question and you want to speak to one of our guests, you hit the pound sign and then 1. You will come up to my studio, and I will advise myself and our guests that you're on the line and who you want to speak to by your area code number. And there may be many calls, so please be patient with us. Today, Business Credit Radio is indeed honored to welcome Mr. Roger Torneden. PhD, CFP, is the Director of Business, Management, and Legal Programs at University of California, Los Angeles Extension, UCLA. Educated at the New York University Stern School of Business, is where he got his PhD, and the University of Kansas, where he got his MS, BS in Operations Research and Industrial Administration, respectively. He combines an interest in global economic history with international business management. Torneden's recent economic analysis speaking engagements have included Chapman University School 2009 Economic Symposium in remembrance of the 80th anniversary of the crash of 1929, including a 2010 published article in the Nexus Law Review, and speaker at Chapman's Law Review Dodd-Frank Act Symposium, January of 2011, as well as U.S.-Mexico Chamber of Commerce 14th Annual Economic Symposium, that was December of 2011. He's also a contributor to several international economics private newsletters. His book, Foreign Disinvestment by U.S. Multinational Economics Private Newsletters, his book, Foreign Disinvestment by U.S. Multinational Corporations, Prager in 1974, provided initial understandings of foreign investment failures by Fortune 500 companies. Torneden is also a certified financial planner who has taught the capstone course in the Personal Financial Planning Certificate program at UCLA Extension. At other schools, he has taught finance, accounting, and economic courses in their MBA and PhD programs while balancing full-time executive positions. Torneden's private sector experience includes years as a former international executive, American International Group, J.C. Penney, and Transamerica Insurance Company Group, with CEO and CFO experience in new business development, strategic and operations planning, worldwide marketing, mergers and acquisitions, debt control and negotiations, personal development, and general management of complex businesses across multiple industries in the U.S., Europe, and Asia. He is a U.S. citizen with multi-year executive residency in Brussels, Osaka, Sydney, while directing international development in the Fortune 500 context. Credit management responsibilities flowed through all his positions, including development of JCPenney's major purchase plan, AIG's credit guarantee product enhancements, and TIG's letter of credit support for high insurance deductible programs for large corporate clients. Mike Mitchell, CAE, is the president and CEO of the Credit Management Association. Mike is the senior executive responsible for the Credit Management Association, CMA, a member association founded in 1883 with approximately 2,000 member companies. CMA is the largest affiliate of the National Association of Credit Management. Robert Schultz is the founding partner of Q2C Quote-to-Cash Solutions and the Trade Information Exchange, TIE. Bob has had a 30-year career as a credit and financial executive for multi-large, multinational organizations in a variety of industries. In 2001, he became a founding father of Quote-to-Cash Solutions. A consultant firm became a founding partner, a consulting firm that focuses on the quote-to-cash cycle, and was named CMA's Credit Executive of the Year. Bob serves on the advisory board of the Credit Today newsletter and is frequent speaker and facilitator at credit professional events and symposiums. Today's program discussion is Beyond the World's Credit-Inspired Great Recession. And I want to welcome Roger, Mike, and Robert. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. We can go ahead and get started on the importance of scoring model.
Well, Philip, I'd really like to make a few comments ahead of time. First of all, thank you for your wonderful opportunity with Business Credit Radio, and I would really especially thank our sponsor, the Los Angeles Credit Management Association, for having confidence and not only supporting this program, but being a key support for UCLA Extension's Credit Analysis and Management program. Personally, and I think a lot of your listeners would agree, we have had in the past 5 years or so individuals who were extremely knowledgeable about structuring sophisticated credit products, and these are in the news pretty much every day with credit default swaps and securitized mortgage obligations. And on the other end of the spectrum, we've had people who are the users of credit, the consumers and businesses who have been a little bit in the dark about the implications of some of the products. And now we're in a position because the products were largely not understood and largely made available to people who didn't really understand the repayment terms and conditions, and also not really having people who understood how to link these products well in their businesses and totally understand how to utilize them. We're in a position in this broad middle ground where the U.S. world economy back in 2007, 2008, 2009 just about collapsed, and so many individuals were surprised and didn't really understand what was happening, and many still don't. But we're living with consequences where credit has changed dramatically in terms of availability to businesses. Many businesses and consumers are once again increasing in bankruptcy frequency, not unable to repay their bills, and what we are trying to do is go back and try to provide a firm foundation for not only people who need to understand credit, but for the many people in finance, accounting, whether they be entry level or whether they be analysts in accounting. We are providing through a program we've invested in a formal education that hopefully will help remedy a lot of the issues that we've really been facing and living with for about the past 5 years. I would like to describe a little bit about why UCLA and UCLA Extension is investing in the program. We have the Anderson School of Management, which is world-known, operating in the MBA and PhD space. We have UCLA Extension, which operates in professional development and continuing education. And at UCLA Extension, we have approximately 50,000 students each year, which is larger than the UCLA campus has at about 37,000 students. We provide certificates in finance, accounting, taxation, marketing, HR, and many other business disciplines, but we did not have a focus in the credit area. And I think it's fair to say that very few schools, very few universities focus on credit. And it sort of gets a little bit lost at large universities. It has not been, until recent years, as interesting to study as derivatives or hedge fund strategies or some of the more exotic areas that actually directly relate to basic credit. But the area of credit management itself has been a bit underserved in the university context, and it happens to be one of the highest growth professions that we're looking at over the next 5 or 10 years. Whether the economy is doing well, and the economy did well during the early 2000s, importantly because people and companies were borrowing more, and it was encouraged. It was encouraged to borrow more. Teaser rates in terms of consumers were really running rampant. The banks were making decisions not to hold the underwriting decisions in their portfolios. They sold them as securitized mortgages and debt obligations. They preferred to get commissions rather than live with credit decisions. The companies had a great run at getting credit, IPO, credit that was provided by venture capital funds, and in fact some of these areas were some of the fastest growing areas in finance until about 2007. So the credit area grew rapidly. It had a broad base. It had a lot of practices that were not tested. What was missing, and what we are working on and why we are investing in this area, is that we have all the tools at UCLA and UCLA Extension. We just have had the need to begin addressing the real-world credit needs and real-world credit training. We began doing this by recruiting and asking credit industry leaders to be a part of our advisory board and actually to design our program from the ground up. We had Mike Mitchell from the Los Angeles Credit Management Association join us with his vast knowledge of credit, but we also had the senior credit officer for City National Bank. We had the former head of Government National Mortgage Association. We had the head of the Small Business Administration for the District of the Los Angeles area, which is the largest SBA district in the United States. We've had Robert Schultz join us, and Robert Bob actually understands very well that credit is a key ingredient for company growth, and credit terms and conditions have everything to do with the growth and profitability of small, medium, and large-sized companies. So we really began recruiting some of the best practitioners to build a program that would meet the needs of future and present credit practitioners. We began by also selecting the best instructors we could find. We have senior credit experience from Wells Fargo Bank, and we have a Wells Fargo Bank senior person teaching one of our initial courses. We have Joe Alradi, who is the managing director of the Alradi Group, who has 20 years experience with Houlihan Lokey, which is, as many of you may know, one of the top firms for acquiring, restructuring, and preparing companies for resale, and credit and cash management has everything to do with Joe's experience. We have Ed Fryermuth, who has written 3 textbooks on credit and credit management. He's now writing a 4th updated one. So we have a lot to say. We have a lot to bring to the table. We bring the Anderson School to the table. We don't bring their derivatives into the classroom, but we certainly bring their senior experience linked to many company clients of the Anderson School in their MBA program. We know what a lot of the issues are. We don't know all the issues. We know many of the issues. But we are having it as our objective to offer both in our classrooms at UCLA and downtown Los Angeles. We are, in addition, offering online our credit programs for our credit analysis and management certificate are all available online, which makes them available worldwide. And I'd like to discuss a little bit about the courses in the certificate. I don't want to run into a 20-minute break, but I could start. We have 6 courses that are designed by our advisory board I just mentioned, and these 6 courses are hands-on. They begin with a focus on the credit markets, the commercial markets, personal markets, the global credit markets, the key players, the key activities, the key financial instruments. We move to the second course to actually conducting credit analyses, and these are hands-on credit analyses using best practices led by instructors of the quality I mentioned. We move to a third class, which is a more advanced class on using the credit tools. We obviously use the credit scoring tools. We use many shortcuts. We move into actually looking at credit risks that would be on the importer or exporter side, actually having our students access the resources provided online through UCLA, UCLA Extension, and elsewhere, considering that there are best practices to get importation through even the customs area by planning ahead and working very well with a offshore party who has gone through the credit due diligence recommended. We move to a 4th course, which is actually presenting the credit analysis. And for small business, this would be presenting and writing a credit request that would meet the best practices of the lending side and meet the best practices of people such as City National Bank, the Small Business Administration, and going into presenting credit analyses to credit committees. What questions are typically asked? What are the pitfalls of asking for credit? And these are addressed, and the students are actually hands-on doing it in the classroom under the supervision of the quality of instructors I mentioned. We bring in a business law course, which is fundamental to credit. Credit law is something that many people understand through the School of Hard Knocks. We'd like to avoid that. We'd like to avoid surprises. We'd like to understand, we'd like for people in credit to understand what their alternatives are. And many alternatives are state by state, and they certainly need an understanding of country by country in today's market. Our final course we require of a 6-course curriculum, which can be done in 1 year online, We bring in electives that would meet the specific interests of the student, such as a managing a loan portfolio elective, which helps a student who is interested in becoming a credit underwriter at a bank or another financial institution. We bring in the possibility of credit management, building a medium-sized business for those who are owner-managers or treasurers or CFOs of small companies who need to know a lot about credit. We bring in a course to help them. We bring in a course possibility of negotiating loan agreements. We bring in a course possibility of bankruptcy workouts and reorganizations. So we also offer courses in real estate finance, international finance, and a whole array of additional courses. I might pause at this point and say that for additional information, to go to www.UCLA extension, which is one word, .edu/credit. So that's UCLAextension.edu/credit. That is a source for a much more detailed explanation of what we are offering. At this point, I'd like to ask if our additional speakers or Philip, if you have questions on what I've covered so far.
Well, there is one thing we need to do. We have to pay the piper here. We have to do our general commercial. About it, he's not going anywhere. He'll be back, and so will Mike, Eddie, and Robert. We're looking forward to it. Give us a minute here, and we'll pay our dues.
Do you ever think back to the very first day that you opened your small business and that warm and fuzzy feeling that you had that your future was so bright that you had to wear shades? Phil Philbin here for CCMA Consulting Services. Soon that shine wore off though, and you came to the conclusion sooner or later that perhaps you just might not know everything you need to know. That's where CCMA Consulting Services can help you and your business bring back that warm sunshine feeling. Our services provide world-class B2B credit and collection management nationwide. Feel free to call us at 815-765-1589 or visit us online at ccma-llc.com for more information about our nationwide network of consulting programs and associates. After all, at CCMA, credit is what we know. It's all we do. I'm Phil Philbin for CCMA, and we'll keep the phone lines open for you. Philip Philbin here for Business Credit Radio. Just for kicks, the other day I decided to spend some time on the World Wide Web, trying to learn how to pronounce the words on sale in other languages, just so I can get a flavor of what people worldwide are hearing. In Germany, it's verkauft. In French, it's en-vente. In Italy, it's in-vente. In Spain, it's in vendita. And in Canada, it's on sale. In any language, the words on sale should evoke a vision of saving money and getting a deal, which is supposed to be a good thing. Business Credit Radio is joining the ranks by announcing our commercial advertising spots on sale right now for 50% off, which is a real savings. Contact our advertising department at 815-765-1589 for our unbelievable pricing on a very, very limited basis, or contact us by visiting our website at ccma-llc.com. I'm Phil Philbin for Business Credit Radio, and we'll keep the phone lines open for you.
Welcome back, everybody. We've got Roger, Eddie, Mike, and Robert on the line, and we're talking about the new adventures out there at the campus at UCLA. We do have a caller that's been very, very patient with us. Let's give her a chance to ask a question. Area code 562, you are on the line.
Oh, I was just online during the break. I was just looking at the extension program on your website. So you're saying that most of the classes are online? You don't have to travel?
Yes. Yes, in fact, the whole program can be completed online.
Now, is there a certain time that you have to log on, and then are there instructors part of the class, the online?
Yes, the way we run the classes, we run the classes in what the academics would call asynchronous, which means that each week students have lesson plans, and they have homework, they have readings, they have discussion groups, and these are all online, but the asynchronous part means that there's no need to meet online at the same time of the same day. The instructor is providing tools on the online platform, such as videos, and providing discussions of his own, or her own, providing lecture notes. And I've actually taught on the online platform. We use the platform called Blackboard, which is the largest platform around, with only 2 or 3 other possibilities, really. And Blackboard one can check into Blackboard once a day, 3 times a day, once a week, 2 hours a week. It's really totally depending upon the individual schedule. And all of the course materials are really referred to, if not totally contained, on the Blackboard site. They're accessible via personal communication devices, although still a PC provides a larger screen. It's just easier to see, easier to deal with, but the instructors are trained. We first of all seek the best instructors we can find for every particular topic, and then we train them at UCLA Extension to basically utilize the Blackboard platform to post the syllabus, to post the course information, to enter into the discussion groups, which are, again, asynchronous. So the discussions are really email directed throughout the site. And we have, each class has a typical number of students of 15 to 20. There's a lot of personal attention. Generally, we pay our online instructors a little bit more because they are really expected to be available to the students at least once during every 24-hour period. So there's a very frequent check-in, and there's a lot of personalization. Questions can be asked directly to the instructor. The instructor is focused on giving each student the directions and the assistance that they require. So, and it happens at UCLA Extension that of our 100,000 classes or student enrollments each year, we have 50,000 students who take an average of 2 classes per student per year. So we have 100,000 enrollments. About a third of them throughout Extension are based through our online classes. It's the most rapidly growing area, and the reach we have is truly worldwide. At any point in time, we have students from 130 to 140 countries taking our classes, and particularly in the business management area that I'm responsible for. We have a number of students in the Far East. We have a number of students in the Orient, particularly Japan and China, and so we have many time zones. But the courses are monitored by my staff. The students are asked for, they're asked survey questions during the course, at the end of the class, and the ratings that we have from students in our online classes are really very high. It's a business that we have developed over the years. We were one of the first universities in the world to begin online learning back in the 1990s. We have a department of about 10 professionals who do nothing but support our online platform and our online students, in addition to our instructor and in addition to the courses. So I would be happy to answer any specific questions, but the online classes run pretty much on the same calendar as our on-ground classes in the classroom. They are the same quality. Many of them use the same materials. It's really an alternative way of learning, and it's reaching a much broader audience. And again, it has more personalization in many ways, even though there are not live classroom discussions as there would be in the UCLA or the downtown Los Angeles classrooms. Would there be an area in particular that you'd like to know more about?
Well, I'm just reading the requirements as you were speaking. I have taken most of all the classes for my CBA, so and that was a while ago. Do I have to go back and take these principles of accounting and financial analysis again? No. If you're comfortable with your background in entering these classes, you can enter these classes directly. We would not make any additional requirement. Okay. All right. No, I've been in the credit industry, and in fact, where I'm working now, just did this job for 19 years, and and I have to do financial analysis and things like that. So I'm trying to think how this is going to be conducive to what I do now.
Well, I think one of the most important answers is that the advisors who structured the program are looking at the credit. We're looking at the credit issues that are here and now. Particularly Brian Fitzmaurice, who is the head of City National Bank's credit department, and we have really worked with the issues as defined by a number of top practitioners, and then we have gone into designing the classes, including assistance with our instructors, who also are using very up-to-date credit analysis management techniques, communication. I would say, I also should say that the cost of our programs are very low compared to many alternatives. For example, all 6 classes that would be required and be elective for our credit analysis and management certificate have a total cost, even though each class is paid for individually and people can take 1 class or 2 classes. They don't have to enroll in the full certificate. But if they chose to do so, the cost of the total certificate is under $5,000, which breaks out to a lot of contact with top practitioners over 6 classes, meeting or having 11 or 12 lesson plans. So essentially a student would have 60 to 70 multi-hour contact points with top industry practitioners and personalization, which comes down to a very low cost per hour. And it's less than 10% of what many of the degree programs could offer after they structure some of their additional requirements around core courses. So it is, our fees are generally under $600 per class or in that area. So the costs are very low to have a refresher, to have confidence you're using best practices, to have guidance from top industry professionals. So obviously I don't know your background. I don't know what you've accomplished in business. I don't know your academic accomplishments. But I do know, because I'm a personal financial planner, I'm a certified financial planner, I do know that as the years go by, that
my own continuing education in financial planning, which is 30 credit hours every 2 years, I learn a lot. The times change, and particularly since 2008 or so, the credit markets have changed dramatically. Credit that used to be taken for granted no longer can be taken for granted. The application rates that were accepted back before 2008 cannot be taken for granted. Businesses have to look at alternatives for financing themselves before there's sort of a pre 2008 and an after 2008.
Okay.
And many people who are comfortable and used to and who have been trained and are practitioners in credit pre-2008, I would argue need substantial updating for their own businesses, for themselves, because the marketplace has changed. The lenders have changed.
Right, I agree. Now, I have one more question. Are there any scholarships out there?
We do not have scholarships. It's not that we won't have at some point, but in our professional development courses, we really do not have funders of scholarships. So right now, the answer is sadly no.
Okay. All right. No, I'm interested, and I know that my company will reimburse once I've done the classes.
Mm-hmm.
It's just I have 3 in college right now.
Yeah, I had 2 daughters in college. Unfortunately, they're both out of college now.
I have one starting. I'll have 3 starting in August. So.
Wow.
I mean, it seems very interesting. Is there a way where I can go and look at each class? Oh, I can link it, and it will tell me.
Yes, if you go to the www.uclaextension.edu/credit, it does take you to the site, and you can look at the courses.
Okay, all right. And then when do you have to sign up? I see they have summer, fall, winter, and spring.
Yes, we started our summer session. The enrollment session for fall, well, actually, I'm just checking some of the dates as we are speaking right now. Yes, we started our summer session, but in about 30 days, we will be starting the enrollments for our fall session.
Okay.
We have a rolling 12-week period normally, so we are in our 3rd week. We're beginning our 3rd week on Monday for our summer session. So we'll begin enrollments in 3 or 4 weeks.
Okay. I've taken online classes before, and I know at a couple of times they have you meet at the campus. Is that something that you require as well?
Oh, no. No, we have students all over the world, so when we have our online classes, we are totally catering to the students who have decided that that's the medium that they want to use, and there are no requirements for physical meetings.
Okay.
Of course, you're welcome to come to our campus at any time, but we do not have requirements for physical meetings. We really can't do that and have a worldwide online presence.
Okay. All right. Okay, well, I'm going to ponder this and read all about it. Like I said, I've been in the credit world. I've gone through the recession, especially with our company that's a distribution of raw material. And there's a lot of sole proprietors and people that you didn't think they were going to file bankruptcy that have. So.
Well, that's an issue in Southern California generally. We have the largest concentration of small businesses in the United States. The New York metropolitan market is actually smaller than the Los Angeles metropolitan market in numbers of small businesses. And the New York metropolitan market, actually in terms of bankruptcies, more or less stabilized 3 or 4 years ago, but in the Los Angeles market, the number of bankruptcies really continued to escalate. So the tens of thousands of small businesses in the Los Angeles area are really very stressed. And somebody in New York might say, well, gee, that's sort of too bad for them. Well, it's actually too bad for everybody because we have so many small businesses that most companies in the United States can't help but deal with Southern California small businesses, whether it be importing through the Port of Los Angeles or whether it be in technology or defense. It's really everybody's concern that the small businesses, particularly in California, are stressed. So credit, as you know, with profit margins in pretty much every business under a lot of pressure, no one really wants to have a bad debt write-off that they haven't anticipated. So it's not, you know better than I, it's not a real popular type of a thing to do, to bring the news to the credit committee or to the owner of the company that we are unable to, to collect a $40,000, $50,000, $100,000, $200,000 debt or receivable. So the times are very stressful.
Right. And a lot of them are moving, well, what I'm seeing are out of California. They're moving. I know Rick Perry's doing a job taking a lot of businesses to Texas right now.
Yeah, Nevada is taking a lot of businesses, as you mentioned. Texas is. Unfortunately, I can't impact California regulation. I think there are a lot of counterproductive things going on in California. The best I can do is offer a business law course that goes into some of the legal issues that maybe can be avoided or mitigated. Some of them can't be. But it is too bad, but it's what we have to deal with.
Well, let me jump in here for a second. This is Phil. It's time again to pay the bills. We need to do a commercial break. We want to thank our caller for her insightful questions, and we appreciate her coming on. And Roger, I think you got yourself another student, which is
that's wonderful.
That's great news, is it not?
We appreciate it.
Thank you, caller, and we're going to head on to our next commercial break.
Bill Philbin here for Business Credit Radio. Advertisers, what do you say we give the phrase, in this economy, a rest? What does that mean anyway? That maybe in this economy, you've got a great deal for customers, but in the next economy, no soap? Maybe you should take a cue from Business Credit Radio. We help people save money in any economy with the lowest price for any national radio commercial ad. Something you should think about in this... Oops. I'm Phil Philbin for Business Credit Radio, and we'll leave the phone lines open for you. Contact us at ccma-llc.com. Philip Philbin here for Business Credit Radio. Just for kicks, the other day I decided to spend some time on the World Wide Web trying to learn how to pronounce the words on sale in other languages, just so I can get a flavor of what people worldwide are hearing. In Germany, it's verkauflicht. In French, it's avente. In Italy, it's invente. In Spain, it's invendita. And in Canada, it's on sale. In any language, the words on sale should evoke a vision of saving money and getting a deal, which is supposed to be a good thing. Business Credit Radio is joining the ranks by announcing our commercial advertising spots on sale right now for 50% off, which is a real savings. Contact our advertising department at 815-765-1589 for our unbelievable pricing on a very, very limited basis, or contact us by visiting our website at ccma-llc.com. I'm Phil Philbin for Business Credit Radio, and we'll keep the phone lines open for you.
Well, we're back live with Roger, Robert, Mike, Eddie, and of course myself, Phil. I'm your show host. Continue on, Roger. Where are we going?
Well, where we're going is we'll be developing additional credit-related courses over the next year. We will move into real estate financing and credit. We'll move into more the international credit environment and tools that are useful primarily to importers and exporters. We'll become a little bit more focused on business valuation from a credit standpoint and using credit in the merger acquisition transactions. So we are kind of at the beginning, and that's where we have positioned our credit analysis and management course. We're really providing an update across the whole cafeteria of credit issues, credit management, credit analysis. We're really making sure that we have updated tools that we're providing in the courses. And as you might suspect, there are many tools that are available on the internet that weren't available 5 or 6 or 7 years ago. There are many free tools. There are many capabilities that are accessible, and we want to make sure that we include the new tools in our classes. So I find, as I was mentioning to our wonderful last caller, great questions. As I was mentioning, no matter what profession someone is involved in, I was using personal financial planning, but we pretty much all need updates. We pretty much all can use focused time with industry leaders. We can use some of our time to focus on subjects that we might have heard about, we may read about, and as we probably all might agree, the media is sort of a terrible place to get priorities. The media will cover so many items in a 24-hour news cycle that you may not have the right perspective on what some of the credit issues are. They may be popular issues, they may be repeated issues, but they may not be the issues that, when solved, can help you in your business and you in your job. So I emphasize that our credit analysis and management program was designed by people similar to many of our listeners, I suspect, people who are involved in credit every day, people who deal with making sure that credit supports the business. When I go back to my J.C. Penney days, we didn't really have credit well integrated with our merchandising strategies. We had some payment plans that were structured by the finance department that, based upon a financial analysis by financial and accounting people, seemed to produce a good return on investment, but they didn't really look at the alternatives that could have been developed to help sales and to better manage the bad debt write-off. So it kind of in my past, I've seen credit departments that have pursued a mission that was not really a mission that would have been conducive for all credit can do for a business. So we are taking on the additional obligation in our curriculum of demonstrating how credit can really help businesses, how it can support sales, how there are obvious restrictions that need to be made in credit. There are a lot of models that can be used in credit, but credit on its own for most businesses is not a profit center. Credit is a main support for the lifeblood of the business, revenue, and obviously profitable revenue.
Roger,
so
let me jump in for a second. Let's get Robert involved in here. Robert, you own a business that works in this area. Can you enlighten us a little bit more?
Well, Roger has done an excellent job, I think, of covering the program, its intent, how it was created, and what it delivers. And I don't have a whole lot to add, except from a credit practitioner standpoint. This program is intended to be much more than just an advertisement for this new program. When I go in front of groups, and I do this a lot, I always like to ask, can I see a show of hands of anyone who has an academic degree in credit management? And it's always a chuckle because there's never a hand raised. It just doesn't exist. And UCLA has really stepped up to this with this certificate. It's a very prestigious institution known for its excellence. And what I was very pleased when I was asked to serve on this advisory board from the perspective of a trade credit management role. There's bankers, as Roger mentioned, there's bankers, there's people from the SBA, and these other constituents and academics that are on this advisory group. But I got to tell you, the input from the trade credit members of this group are taken very, very seriously, and I think that anyone listening can depend on, as this curriculum continues to morph and develop, it's going to more and more value to trade credit and financial professionals. The thing that really sticks out, and maybe this is more a direct response to your question, Phil, is that in today's business, there's a need for companies to fund themselves more than ever before, particularly when you're talking about small and medium-sized enterprises. Borrowing is tough. It is not, like Roger said, it's not a pre-2008 world. So one way of funding the operations and the growth of your business is by effective management of your trade credit and receivables. In order to do that, you really need to be a state-of-the-art person. You have to understand what tools are available out there, what approaches, what analytical approaches you need to take to risks you're taking on. And to Roger's point, the most valuable aspect of this is how you can be a contributor to your company and its profitability, revenue growth, etc. So many credit people are bound to their desk on a daily basis that it's very difficult to have the insight of how you can go beyond just the day-to-day tactical blocking and tackling stuff and actually create true value for your company. A program like this really enables a credit professional as they're growing in their career, or a controller, or a CFO, or a treasurer of a company where they have hands-on impact on this area. A program like this really equips you to deliver what your company needs, more and more than it's ever been needed before in terms of requirement to kind of self-fund your business. The other thing I really like about this this curriculum is I think most of us that are in trade credit and have spent our careers there feel that it's a unique occupation. It involves a lot of things that other positions in companies don't touch, and this program really validates the uniqueness of our profession. And I think, if nothing else, that's a real positive step. And lastly, this is a resume builder, and people do move from company to company. People want to be promoted within their own company. You have a certificate from UCLA in credit analysis and management, and that's a true differentiator between you and a lot of other people that you're competing with. So frankly, listeners ought to consider that aspect as well.
Well, speaking of listeners, we have another one. Let's bring another one on here. Hello, listener. You are area code 818. Do you have a question for us?
Hi, Phil. It's Mike Mitchell from CMA.
Hello, Mike.
Hi, how are you? I hope I'm not coming in to the program in progress.
Yeah, you are, but it's okay. We were looking for you. Live radio. What are you going to do, right?
Yeah, exactly.
We were in the middle of discussing what value these courses have to business in general, and you have some comments you want to interject about that?
Sure. Well, like I said, I've kind of come in late, but the whole reason that we got involved with UCLA Extension for the credit analysis course is because we wanted to reach out to a wider audience. We wanted to make sure that some younger folks were made aware of credit as a career before the career found them. And that just serves our mission to, as the Credit Management Association, to expose the business credit community and younger people to credit. So we feel that we've been very fortunate to work with Roger Torneden and the rest of the UCLA Extension staff who put this terrific program together, and we look forward to continue to supporting it.
Great. Well, Eddie Sumer might have something to add to this. Eddie?
Yeah, first of all, I want to thank Roger and the UCLA leadership to really take one of my passions and one of your passions, Phil, into hopefully mainstream. Really, what UCLA and Mr. Torneden and Roger is doing, and also I'm very excited to see that Mike Mitchell, CMA, and Bob Schultz, my mentor and friend of Q2C, that are on the advisory board, because no program is going to give justice to credit and credit professional if the association is not involved, if the practitioner is not involved. Because I have looked at several finance courses. They have no clue what credit is. And I agree with you, Roger. You said something so profound at the beginning of this transmission that the reason the economy collapsed between 2007 to 2009 is because those who were entrusted with the economy were busy focusing on their commissions, not on decision-making, on their credit decisions. And they violated every rule under the sun. In my opinion, the economy should have never collapsed on the personal level, whether it's in the mortgage industry or in the business level, if every individual was informed, if every company followed the fundamentals. I'm one of those, Roger. I don't believe that anyone should be violating credit rules and fundamentals. The fundamentals don't change. There are no such thing as credit strategies for down economies or credit strategies for upside economies. No. Imagine homes. They have foundations. Do you travel through neighborhoods where you see, oops, we made a mistake. Today is rainy, therefore I need to destroy the frame and the house and build a new foundation. Oops, today is sunny, I need to destroy the house and build a new foundation. No. Credit foundations are there to stay. They are immutable. The business environment, as you mentioned, and Bob said too, is changing. Yes, we are living in the 21st century in 2013 onward. Fundamentals never change. What changes is the methods of delivery, the models, and so forth. The C's of credits never change. The ability and willingness matrix never changes. Credit decision-making never changes. What changes is the input. We need to take the input into consideration. So I love it. I love what UCLA is doing, what CMA is doing. This is our goal, Phil and I and everybody on this phone call. We want everybody to know that credit management is key for the individual health and for the health of the economy. And I love what you said, that this is a growth. That means credit professionals need to be taught. Everybody should be looking at credit management as a career. So again, I applaud you. I love it. And as the caller mentioned, continuous education is huge. And I agree with you, Bob. I myself, many years ago, there was no UCLA extension in credit, but I live in the Inland Empire, so I took executive management courses, 10-week courses and so forth, and my company paid for it. Since she asked for scholarships, one thing I can tell any of the listeners, check with your companies. There are still some companies out there that can pay for courses and they can pay for this career builder and resume enhancer at UCLA. So, yeah, it's an amazing course, and let's keep it growing. This is only the beginning, and let's take it to the world and take it to the mainstream.
Well, also, I want to interject an opinion here. Roger and I had a wonderful conversation before the show, and we were discussing the profession, what has happened, where we're going, what is being done at UCLA, and what we're doing here at CCMA and Business Credit Radio. Bob, you're absolutely right. I did a survey on LinkedIn, and I came up with the almost exact same results that you did. I asked everybody, how did you get into the credit profession anyway? How did you get there? And I would say, with the exception of myself and a couple other people, 2 or 3, the bulk of them said, I was thrown in a position. I was doing something else. I was in customer service. I was in general accounting. And you know what's interesting? You get into this profession and you don't want to leave. It's challenging. It challenges you to do your best. Now, the problem with it is, when you get thrown into a position like that, you don't have the expertise unless you've got yourself a good mentor. Now, for everybody out there that is looking to go into these classes, learn what you can. Get your bosses to pay, like Eddie says. Go into these classes, learn what you can, but then give back. Mentor your people. Teach them what they need to know. Roger is 100% right. We're in a new world. Since the whole collapse and now the resurrection, if you will, look at how slowly it's resurrecting. You've got to be on top of that. There are new tools. We bring them to Business Credit Radio. There are new things out there for you to learn. We bring them to Business Credit Radio. So listen to us, get your education, and more than that, for any of the other people out there that is not in the industry, is not a credit manager today, but you're thinking about it like, maybe this might be something for me to get into, check it out. We looking forward to helping as much as we possibly can. We're dedicated to getting the managers in. I want to thank everybody for being on the show today. We're running kind of short of time. Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Robert. And, of course, thanks, Roger and Eddie, for being on the show. I look forward to it. It was a wonderful show, and thanks to all of our listeners worldwide and listeners currently online. Thank you very much. Any final comments?
I have one thought that you brought up, Philip, that's a great thought. And if you look in your local Career Builder or Monster.com or even the local print newspapers, you'll almost always find many credit positions. And we did a credit salary survey with Robert Half using some of their material. The credit area and credit analysis and credit management, these are very well-paying areas. They are generally $10,000 to $20,000 per year above general accounting analyst and financial analyst positions. So I would encourage people to check it out. It's a great return on investment to spend a small amount of money to update your resume and to move into a position that could be $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 a year more of pay, and really enjoy and really like it and contribute. So I think that's a great reality. Thank you, Philip.
Not a problem. Thank you. Anybody else?
Just want to thank you for the opportunity to present this program, Phil. I think it was very useful, and hopefully the audience will participate.
Thank you very much for coming on. And, of course, we do want to thank our sponsor. That would be the Credit Management Association. Thank you very much.
This evening's show is partially brought to you by the Credit Management Association, a proud affiliate of the National Association of Credit Management that has helped business-to-business companies with their credit, collections, and financial decisions since 1883. Contact CMA at www.creditmanagementassociation.org for more details on how CMA can benefit you.
Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. We'll do it again. We'll see you again live on Business Credit Radio.
Fascinating. Great program.
Thank you.